Hello, greetings, and happy first Self-Care Sunday of 2022. So, I am Naya Powell, founder of Utopia Spa and Global Wellness, and so excited to be joining you this first Sunday of 2022, this new year. So, some of you may have joined yesterday, and if you did, welcome back. So, want to just share a little bit about just this wonderful new movement and campaign. So, what we are doing is we are inviting you to be a part of our Getting Healthier Together movement with Utopia. And so, I am launching our 7 days of mindful moments with Naya. And this is really a segue into a whole month of getting healthier together. We're getting healthier together by refreshing, resetting, and refocusing as we go into 2022. So, thanks for joining us today. This is our second day of our 7 days of mindful moments of Utopia. Yesterday, the first, we kicked it off with elevating our thoughts will elevate our life. So we talked about ways to do that. If you didn't see it, check out our recordings on our LinkedIn and Facebook pages. And then today, we're going to be talking about cultivating a practice of mindfulness. So this is day 2. We're going to do this for the rest of the week. And these practices, these self-care strategies, these wellness practices are really going to help you to navigate 2022. As we know, 2020 and 2021 has been kind of a blur, a ball of uncertainty, of loss, of pandemics, of social unrest, challenges in the political climate, challenges with just personal lives, just blurring, the lines of hybrid work and hybrid school and dealing with just the concern of, are we going to get COVID? Our family members, our loved ones, our neighbors are impacted. We're personally all impacted by everything that's going on. And as a result, our mental health and well-being has been suffering. So we wanted to come to you this new year and really offer ways that you can level up, beef up that self-care toolkit with utopian lifestyle strategies. So these strategies are actually coming from our free guide that you can download right at utopiasgw.com. Our free guide, which offers 12 strategies to reduce stress and anxiety. And those 12 strategies come from our 30 days to Utopia Living. So in 30 days to Utopia Living, it actually offers 90 utopian lifestyle strategies and 60 coaching exercises with daily affirmations, did you knows, facts from science, from the medical field. And this is actually a faith-based coaching guide. So this can also is something that's available to you right on Amazon, #1 bestseller. So really wanted to just figure out, how can we help the world, right? How can we help the world, practice more self-care and well-being? And so we're going to have 7 days of conversation. I'll be sharing some lifestyle strategies, some coaching exercises based on the topic for the day. And then we're going to end it with a little moment of mindfulness. And so for those of you that are new to mindfulness, welcome. So excited about being able to share with you what mindfulness is, ways that you can practice mindfulness, and different tools and strategies to become a part of your own mindful community, right? And creating mindfulness not only in your home, in your work life, in your family, in your professional life. So one of the things I love to do is, I'm an avid reader. I'm always reading and doing research, and I can share with you that mindfulness, a couple of things, is really the act of being fully present. Okay, so when we talk about what mindfulness involves being aware of what is taking place within ourselves. This includes thoughts that we think. This includes emotions that we feel. This includes the choices that we make, in addition to external awareness of our impact in terms of the words that we speak, the actions we follow through on, and our interactions with others. So who doesn't want to be more mindful, right? We live in a day and an age where we are so easily distracted. We have these things called smartphones. We can go in to send an email and then we're distracted by our Facebook, our Instagram, our text messages. So we live in a world that's almost designed to constantly having us multitask and be distracted. So when we're in that space, unfortunately, we're not fully present. So mindfulness helps us to be in tune with what's happening in us and around us. So when I think about also ways to be mindful, we're going to talk about ways to be mindful. You can be mindful in your body. When we do our mindfulness segment, we're going to do a body scan. We're going to do some cleansing breaths, some deep breathing. We're going to allow ourselves to notice, take notice, and bring higher levels of self-awareness, which ties directly into emotional intelligence. What's happening with us? How are we feeling? How are we feeling? Do we have a headache that we didn't even notice? Believe it or not, when I got my first COVID shot, I was talking to a friend and a former colleague, and I said, "Hey, what symptoms did you notice when you got your COVID shot?" I just got mine, and he said, "Oh, I had like this nagging headache." And it was funny because I said, "Wow, I didn't even notice. I have a nagging headache." And I was so busy with my day that I didn't even notice it until someone mentioned the word headache. How often are we going through our day and not noticing so many things happening within us and around us? Have you ever gone to get a massage and then realized, oh my gosh, I had no idea that my lower back was that sore. I had no idea that, my hamstrings were so tight. So there are different things that can happen that call our attention to what's happening. But sometimes things go unaddressed so long that now we're dealing with an adverse effect. How often does that happen when we're not mindful about what's happening in our bodies? And we've ignored something for so long, and now we're dealing with a chronic illness. How often have we not been more present and more mindful in our relationships? And before we know it, 6 inches has become 6 miles, and our communication has completely broken down. Our closeness, our bond has withered away. These are the things that happen when we're not more mindful, when we're not more present, and when we're living in a world of being distracted. So we can all be more mindful in our communication. So one of the things I try to do, I'm not always perfect, is being more fully present when I'm in the presence of a friend, a family member, a loved one. So if I'm having brunch, which I did today, my favorite thing to do on a Sunday, in addition to spending time in the Word or at service or virtual service, is to turn my phone down and turn my ringer off. And I do my best to just put it face down so I can be fully present. The biggest gift is in our presence. The biggest present is to be present. And we always have so many competing thoughts about what we need to do tomorrow, what we need to do later. But at the end of the day, the best place to be is in the present moment. That's the best place to be. We can also be present in our communication by paying attention to our eye contact, our body language, even our resting face, not only how we are showing up in our communication. And in this virtual world, we have to even work even harder in corporate meetings, in the workplace, personally. Because I don't know if you're aware, but over 90% of communication is nonverbal. And we've been living almost 2 years not able to be as in person as we could have before. So we have to take extra steps to be extra intentional, to be present, which is to be mindful. That's in our texting, that's in our emailing, that's in our Zoom chats. It takes extra effort to be present. So mindfulness has really unlimited amounts of benefits. Even in just, are we present? Are we showing that we're present? Are we contributing to conversations? Because this is not, again, just how we show up personally, because this is Sunday, but we're about to go back into the work environment tomorrow. And some of us have had the blessing of being, off and shut down from Christmas Eve till tomorrow. So, really having these tools to elevate your well being, your relationships, personally and professionally, and to really drive your desired outcomes for your life. And that's what coaching is all about. So, I also have an extensive background in executive coaching. I am blessed and fortunate to have and to work with global companies around the world, top Fortune 500, 1,000, and even 100 corporations in the areas of executive leadership. And mindfulness is something that even the Harvard Business Review, Yale, is really doing a lot of talks and studies on. Mindfulness also helps us to build up our resilience. And we know that we desperately need high levels of resilience and emotional agility to make it through the times that we're in. Mindfulness is also a way to really restore and change. It changes our brain. So some of you may have heard me talk about this before, but I'm going to just it's a good refresh. And for many of you, it'll be your first time hearing this. And this is from Emotional Intelligence, Mindfulness by Harvard Business Review. And it focuses on how we can be more responsive versus reactionary. So it's easy to just have a knee-jerk reaction. But if we think about it and if we're honest, we have all done something or many things that had we taken the time to press pause, the pause principle, and to be more mindful, to be more thoughtful about how we respond, we would have responded more thoughtfully. So you'll hear me say, it's not about the stimulus, it's about the response. And being mindful helps us to respond in a way where we don't have a lot of regrets, that knee-jerk reaction. So what mindfulness does is it really helps to restore our ACC, which is part of our brain, and it's our anterior cingulate cortex. It's structured deep inside the frontal lobe, behind the brain's frontal lobe. Okay, so it's deep inside our forehead. It's associated with self-regulation and behavior, and it suppresses knee-jerk reactions. I see a thumbs up there. So for those of you that are joining, if you have ever practiced mindfulness before, share with us in the comments some of the benefits that you've noticed from practicing mindfulness. Would love to hear from you. If it's your first time, let me know. I love working with first timers. It makes me so excited. So I also want to share that people with a damaged ACC, so this could come from perhaps a concussion. Many of us have played sports. I actually had a serious car accident in 2020, suffered a concussion, and I can tell you it is not fun and it is scary. So you think about those that have suffered concussions or some other injury to the brain. And it can cause us to have knee-jerk reactions or to be more temperamental. However, the good news is mindfulness can actually help. Meditation can actually help to restore brain matter. When we're stressed, it affects our brain. It creates actually dark spots on our brain. When we're multitasking, it can cause us to fray the nerve endings of our brain. Mindfulness can help to restore. Hey there. Hi, Clarence. Clarence says helps to de-stress and reset thinking. And I actually started facilitating mindfulness on a weekly basis when I was at Red Hat. global software company, leading software company in open source software. And Clarence had an opportunity to attend those sessions at Red Hat as well as virtually. Dee McGaskey shared, that is so true. Practicing mindfulness has helped me to refocus and stay in the present. And think about it, you all. We live busy lives. We might be leaders in the workplace, certainly leaders of our home, right? And so how we show up matters, okay? So I wanted to share that these regions of our brain really are directly connected to our mental flexibility, our mental agility. And in a lot of the work that I do around leadership development, highly ties to mental agility is something that leaders that are successful and that really achieve executive ranks of leadership, they have high levels of mental agility. They have high levels of resilience, high levels of optimism. So I like to say we're always impacting the climate of any space that we enter. So mindfulness also helps us to be more aware of how we show up. Are we are we increasing the temperature? Are we decreasing the temperature? Are we adding or subtracting? Are we multiplying the environment or are we dividing the environment with our tone, our look, our response, or lack thereof? All of these things matter. They matter at home. They matter with family. They matter with friendships. They matter in the workplace. They matter with your team. They matter in every area of our lives, which is why with Utopia Living, we focus heavily on holistic well-being because our lives are holistic. Our mental well-being, our physical well-being, our relational well-being, our financial well-being, our spiritual well-being, our emotional well-being. All of these things. And all of these things are areas that Utopia Spa and Global Wellness focuses on through our live classes, our virtual classes, and our wellness coaching. And we have some really wonderful trainings coming up, focused trainings for teams and groups in 2022. So Clarence says mental agility is essential in the work and personal. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. Because stress is going to come and it's not going away. So how do we flex? How are we able to flex? How are we able to deal with stress? What are our triggers? Self-awareness is key. What are our triggers? Who are our triggers? And then being able to take an inventory of who and what our triggers are helps us to be more mindful about how we're going to respond when those things come up because they're going to come up. Again, we can't stop the stimulus, but we can control the response. And as we go into 2022, I want us to really be thinking about, as we talked about yesterday, elevate our thoughts, we elevate our life. I want us to be thinking about living a life by design, not by default. We have lived our lives by default, most of us, for most of our lives. And if we don't take more time to be mindful, to be intentional, to be purposeful, to be present, we'll continue. So this 7-day journey is going to help us to be super intentional. And I'm going to kind of quickly walk you through what the next days will entail. So we already started with elevate your life and elevate your thoughts, elevate your life on the 1st. Today is cultivating a practice of mindfulness. Tomorrow is developing a gratitude and journaling practice because when we take an inventory of all that what it is, it really is a paradigm shifter for that optimism. And that optimism really helps to contribute to resilience. It also helps to really pave the way for desired outcomes because it gives us momentum to keep pushing. Setting boundaries, learning to say no. Oh my God, that's the hardest thing. But let's not overcommit. Let's not continue to do that in 2022. It affects our ability to show up with quality and a spirit of excellence. Cultivating and coming together in community. And then on Thursday, creating a self-care ritual on day 6. And on day 7, envisioning your new utopian life. So we're going to build up to that. So, a wonderful way to kick off this new year. So, we talked about ways we can be mindful. We talked about what mindfulness is. Oh, D, let's see. D, being self aware allows me to respond in a more positive manner, regardless of the situation. I'm learning to be intentional and purposeful with my time. Oh my God. I love all of it. We can really destroy and break down a relationship in a matter of minutes by a knee jerk response. But if we take a moment to pause, sometimes being mindful is just letting someone know, let me give that some thought and get back. And that, oh y'all, it's not a month later. It really needs to be within 1 to 3 days, as much as possible. But giving yourself a moment to pause. Sometimes it just is a timeout. Even in a heated work conversation or personal conversation, and it's coming back to it in an hour or sometimes even 15 minutes. But give yourself the space and the margin, the mental margin that you need to be mindful. We can also be mindful in our eating. Not just what we're eating, like I've really taken time to think about, not a New Year's resolution, because like I talked about yesterday, those are thrown out usually in a couple of days. Or most 90% of New Year's resolutions have already been abandoned by the end of the month. So for me, it's about New Year's goals, SMART goals. So one of them is around my eating. It's around my fitness. It's about grocery store shopping. It's about meal planning, meal prepping. I already started the year off great by cooking yesterday, really healthy meal, and already shopping for the week. And it's a commitment that I'm making, but not just in what we're doing, but even in the moment. If you have a cup of tea, taking a moment to take in the aroma of your tea, of your food, the texture of the food that you're eating, that you're tasting, the spices, the colors. Being mindful as you're going for a drive or a walk, taking in the sounds. I love being in nature. Take in the sounds of the birds. Take in the fresh air. So often when I might go get out the car or even get something out of my car in the evening, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it smells so beautiful out here. I also have like this super huge rosemary bush in my yard, and people always come up and like, oh my gosh, it smells so good. It is probably that too, but just the fresh air, the breeze, being mindful in everyday moments. So we're going to practice that. But I want to share a few benefits before we get into our practice. Benefits of mindfulness. We talked about a lot of them already. But a Yale study also talks about how mindfulness and gratitude, I blend the two, increases our immune health, reduces stress, anxiety, and depression. Over 60%, over 64% of us are dealing with a mental health challenge. And I believe it's higher, you all, because even stress is a mental health challenge, but we're all dealing with stress. Many of us are dealing with bouts of anxiety or bouts of depression. So being able to really take those thoughts captive and reroute them and think about what's serving us and what's not, and repositioning and affirming is a wonderful way to be more mindful about our thoughts, thinking about what we think about. Mindfulness, as we talked about, increases brain health, improves our relationships, our empathy, and creates better focus and clarity. So many benefits. So let's cultivate a practice of mindfulness. And again, if you're just joining, I see some new joiners, join us every day this week and join us for our Let's Get Healthier Together movement. I like what Clarence says here. The demands of life can make it difficult to prioritize yourself. I'm determined to do better in 2020. Absolutely. I want us all to do better. Let's do it together. Do it together, you all. Join and the link should be below, but join our free movement to get healthier together, to what are we saying? Refresh, reset, and refocus. So let's go ahead and move into a mindfulness practice. Mindfulness practice doesn't have to be you're the only one in the room and it's 30 minutes. We can do one for 5. We can do one for 10. So I'm going to invite you to lower your gaze. You can even close your eyes. You can't see, but I have candles lit. I have a little spa meditation music playing in the background. Turn it up a little bit. Incorporate some aromatherapy. Yes, Leslie. Yes, I want to prioritize movement this year. Let's do it together, Leslie. Leslie's one of our amazing mental health coaches on the platform as well. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. You can even place one hand on your heart, your chest, one hand on your abdomen. Taking a nice cleansing breath. Breathe in peace and serenity. This beautiful first Sunday of 2022. As you exhale, I want you to blow out to release any stress, any anxiety. Again, breathe in peace and tranquility. Exhale and release any tension, any uncertainty. Breathe in hope. Breathe in excitement about this year ahead. Exhale any fear. Exhale, release any critique. Breathe in compassion. Breathe in self-love. We can only give out what we have within. Release and exhale all that no longer serves us. With your next breath, I invite you to do a nice body scan. You can even rotate your neck. Just bring awareness to any tightness or tension you might be holding in your neck. You can even do a shoulder shrug, rotating our shoulders back and forward. Bring awareness to your chair, your seat, your sofa, the structure in which it's holding you right now. Just allowing yourself to embrace this time of being still, of being supported. Feeling the back of your chair, feeling the bottom of your seat that's holding you up. Bringing awareness to your upper back, moving into your mid, lower back, even into your legs, your knees, your calves. If you're able to, just allow your feet to feel firmly rooted, planted, and grounded. Breathing in stability in this ever-changing world. Allow yourself to feel grounded and rooted and stable in this very moment. With your next breath, I invite you to just breathe in health and well-being, starting from your feet, moving through your legs, your core, your heart, and even in your mind. Allow yourself to get anchored in something that you're so grateful for as we go into 2022, this new year of new possibilities. Breathing in gratitude and thankfulness for what is versus what is not. I invite you to also just think about at least one area, maybe more come to mind, and that's okay, but at least one area in which you will commit to being more mindful to. In what way will you be more mindful, more intentional, more responsive, more present as we go into this new year, developing a new you, an elevated you? Envision yourself being more present, being more mindful in that area that matters to you most. And in closing, I want to leave you with this quote: mindfulness is a way of befriending ourselves and our experience without judgment, not that it's good or bad, but just bringing a higher level of awareness of who we are, of whose we are, and embracing the beauty of that. So I'd like to leave you with a utopian lifestyle strategy. As you go into the week, the first Monday of 2022, I invite you to explore ways to allow for more margin in your week, your days, and intentionally on Monday. Start your week off intentionally. So a few ideas for you to add to your idea bank. Keep your Monday mornings open if you can. I just had a conversation about this with a friend and colleague. If you're able to, allow yourself some unscheduled time to be strategic, to be thoughtful, to be planful for your desired outcomes for the week. Responding to those emails, establishing what are the outcomes you desire in terms of some goals for the week, some action items. Create a list and determine exactly what that looks like for you. Be mindful in your meal prep for the week. If you're like me, you like Sundays to be a little relaxed. So maybe you carve out some time for that. But if you can, try to make it a meeting-free morning or day and be very mindful about your week. A coaching exercise for you. Stop and pay attention to the chatter of your mind. Take some time to write down any unhealthy or negative thoughts and patterns. Use positive affirmations, quotes, scriptures, whatever works for you to assist you in the process. So I want to thank you for joining me on this beautiful Self-Care Sunday. And if you have any questions, comments, or takeaways, please share them in the chat. Thank you all for joining and for being engaged on today's session. And an affirmation that you can incorporate, I'll read it twice so you can even write it down, is I will think of thoughts that uplift, nourish, and inspire my peace, my power, my purpose, and abundance. Make it a Utopia living day, and I look forward to seeing you Tomorrow, 8:30 a.m., Monday through Friday, we will continue our 7 days of Utopia, leading us into a wonderful, wonderful 30 days of Utopia. Again, a free Utopia SGW movement to elevate workplace well-being for the entire month of January. Yes, thank you all. And then we look forward to getting moving together. And if you're an individual, join our free trial, sign up for our live and on-demand classes, and we will see you soon. Take care.